yes. Oh, people, remember this, they are only government.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean. You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean. Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Powerhouse Radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse Radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
Live September 16, 2023, original rock study the reggae story with Keith and Tex, Monty Montgomery, Rudy Mills, and live at Premier Restaurant and Lounge, it's Barry Big. That's 6924 Main Street, Tonia, Georgia, all backed by Black Diamond. Doors open at 8 p.m. Showtime 9 p.m. That's right, performing live, Rudy Mills. Get your tickets now or pay more at the door. Call 404-246-1809. That's 404-246-1809. Original Rocksteady Story live at Premier Restaurant and Lounge with Keith and Tex, Barry Biggs, Rudy Mills, Monty Montgomery, and Stereo Birthday Boom. September 16, 2023, live at Premier Restaurant and Lounge, 6924 Main Street, Lithonia, Georgia. Rock study the reggae story.
Yeah. You listen to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kind of tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day. So you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday, 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? When you need something to just ride to on the go. Or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Let's gripe.
Good evening. It is now August 23rd, 2023. Guys, it's August. The end of August. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend. Come on, y'all. Hey, MG. Hey, Mckenna. It's been a minute. How you guys doing this evening?
Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Just good to be here. I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. No complaints here. How's everybody else?
What up, man? We gotta get this energy up a little bit. It's been a minute. I ain't seen y'all in a minute. How's everybody doing?
Well, starting off for me, I am recovering from a sinus infection, y'all. It's been so hot. I've been working from home, and I was, out, showing houses and so forth. But I don't know, between the heat and the AC, messed me up, y'all. I was knocked down, y'all. I was knocked down, but I'm getting better. If you can see the eyes still kind of, because the head feel like I got a break, y'all. I feel like I got a break on it. But other than that, I'm grateful that I'm here tonight. So we could chop this up tonight. What about you, Mckenna?
All right. Well, speaking of allergies and sinus infections, I actually went to the allergist today because I have seasonal allergies. I've had them forever and ever. And so it was suggested that I go get a new allergy test since it's been over 20 years. So we weren't able to do the test today because I didn't know that I couldn't take my antihistamine before I went. So she was like, that's okay. We'll just do, an initial triage and just, come up with a plan. So I had a pretty good experience. I had never been to an allergist. So she's going to put me on some new medication. And then I just have to schedule a follow-up appointment to actually have the allergy test taken. And I do have to be off my antihistamine for 5 days because I was like, what do you mean don't take the medicine? They're like, how am I going to make it through the day? And she was like, well, in order to take the test, you have to not take the antihistamine so we can see, what you have a reaction to. I said, this makes sense out loud. And so she said, I'll give you something else in the meantime. So I'll keep you posted here in a couple of weeks when I get rescheduled to go back and see what the allergy test says, but it is, just managing the wellness. I can't just encourage other people to do things that I haven't done myself. So I am making it an action item to, be involved in my health and to take care of myself. So this was my self-care plug for today.
Yeah, it seemed like I don't know, man. This COVID thing, I guess, has been hitting me. But I've heard a lot of people have been getting sick lately. Whether it's I got a sore throat or sinus infection, but a lot of people have been getting pretty down, and of course, people have been catching COVID left and right too. Still, I don't know what COVID says. So y'all thought I was done, but hold up, hold up. Now I got a little bit left in me now. So I don't know.
You're certainly right about it because I did think that way too. I had went to the Atlanta Jamaican Association ball. I had a wonderful time. Of course, I was, at the door, so many people. And I remember this one guy, he was coming in, I was explaining, just directing. I was like, hey, we need your ticket to sign, scan and woo, woo, woo. And, could go over there. And he was just like, oh, thank you so much. And he hugged me, right? And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And I mean, Monday when I started feeling sick, I was like, did he intentionally give me some? Yes, I did. I did think that way. Because I was like, he just out of nowhere just gave me a hug. And I was like, did he intentionally gave me some? So, of course, I was a little nervous about the big C. But no fever, nothing like that. And it's all in my head, sinus. And just from the new symptoms they're talking about, doesn't seem like it could be that. But I was like, okay, well, as long as heart is still beating, and I can move around, I'm not too worried about it. But I think, yes, I'm going to be more mindful when I do go into crowded venues again to pretty much wear that mask just because. And this heat, now, y'all, this heat is so bad. I feel so bad for people who have to work outside in it.
It's real disrespectful. You're right.
I mean, I have been watching how hot it was on TV and just looking at it from a distance because, as Tonia mentioned, I work from home also, but I hadn't really been outside. So today, or even when I went to the store the other day, it was really just hopping out of the car in the AC, walked in the store and came back. So it didn't really hit me. Today, when I went to the doctor, I actually parked on the wrong side of the building. So when I walked to the door, there was a sign like, this is the wrong door. You have to go around up to the other side of the building. So I said, I hadn't had any steps in about 2 weeks. Let me just walk around. Listen, that heat said, what you doing out here? Why are you walking? I mean, literally, I was exhausted just from walking from one side of the building to the other because of the heat. So to your point, I do feel compassion for, kids who have to walk home from school, even those that take the bus, some of them get dropped off a half a block from their house. There are still people who are housing insecure, who, are living under bridges and things of that nature, just trying to stay out of the heat. So it's been tough for a lot of people, not just in Georgia, but we know lots of places in the U.S. who have had 100+ days, 100+ degree weather for several weeks now. And it's really fatiguing. So I'm sure that electric bills will be high if they're not already high, and people are just like, it is what it is. send me the $300 bill because, I have to be able to breathe in my own house.
Exactly. And we just hope that everyone just stays hydrated, drinking your water, your vitamin water, your Gatorade, just staying healthy right now to, get through this heat. That's the most important thing. But also we have a lot of catching up to do, but I definitely, I want to start off, let's start off with some good stuff first, and then we can get to the crazy stuff. So the good thing is that Sha'Carri Richardson, we got to give her a round of applause for being the world fastest woman 2023. She won the gold medal. Remember when she first came out 2 years ago, she was very cocky. She was just immature, pretty much. Got, suspended from the races a few years ago, and because of testing positive for marijuana. So she saw how the world was with her when she was up, and then when they kicked her to the curb when she was down. So looking at her now, I definitely do see the growth in her, and she's also speak about it. She's like, I remember the world was my friend. And she said, I remember when, the world turned their back on me, pretty much. She says, I'm doing this for myself. So I do see the maturity and the growth that has, that's grown with her, and got to give her a lot of love and respect for her seeing, hey, people's going to be there when you're up. You're going to really see who's there for you when you're down. And I, from what I'm looking at her, my perspective, I do see that she has grown and she realized everything that she does, she needs to do it for herself. And congratulations for, winning. The last gold medalist was 2017 to the late, I think Toria, I don't remember her last name. So it's also a blessing. You lost one, but one came back this year. So that kudos. Jamaica came in second and third to go, the silver and the bronze. So again, still on the map. So, and to see how they actually embraced it, it was so loving. It shows you that we can be united. During the moment, it's like, oh, Jamaica against America, America against Jamaica. But at the end of the day, to see how they reunited and cheered for each other and love the fact that who won. And that just gives me a lot of hope as far as people realize that, hey, at the end of the day, we can all be happy for each other. So I definitely wanted to give kudos to America. Also with the men race, they also won the gold too. So shout out to America and MG and Mckenna. Shout out to on the
No, I think it's a good story. I just kind of, I'm a little not bothered, but I think it's a little about this narrative that the world turned their back on her, as if like you didn't do some stuff that people's kind of like. So I mean, but congratulations to her. I'm glad that she, as you said, showing signs of maturity, because that's what we were looking for. Not anybody didn't believe that she was talented. Obviously she was. That's why she was on the map. That's why people loved her, because she was very talented. But it was that level of maturity, whether it was she was going through things emotionally or whatever else, that she just kind of needed to work through. And obviously it showed in her races, because it wasn't like it was that one thing that happened and then everything after that she was good. It took her a while to kind of get herself maturity, train right, focus, whatever she had to do. I think it's super dope that she things together and physically doing what she needs to do.
Mckenna, you want to chime in on there?
No, I mean, I think it's a good comeback story. Sometimes we have to go through things in life, but it's not the end of it doesn't have to be the end of the story. We make decisions, we make choices. She was coping with something, and that's how she chose to cope with it at that time. And as a result, there was a consequence of it. Was it right? Was it fair? Was it indifferent? Was it whatever? It happened. And so it's just a reminder that you can either tap out and be angry and let that situation end something in you, or you can take the feedback whether you agree or not. We're not always going to agree with what people say or what their feedback is or how they judge us or perceive us. If we break the rule, we break the rule. And sometimes we just have to accept that we didn't follow the rule in that scenario. That's just the fact. And not let it defeat you. And so I think it's a good comeback story. And it's a good example of in life, we go through things and you have a choice. You can tap out, or you can do the work that's required to heal emotionally, mentally, and physically, and then get back on your game, your sport, your journey, your mission, your vision board, and go back out there and accomplish the things that you aim to do. And it's not impossible. And just because it's delayed or deferred, it doesn't mean that it's denied. And I think that because of this detour that she took and the outcome, she'll be able to inspire and reach people that she might not have been able to reach if she had not gone through this. So I commend her on lots of levels. Unapologetically, I support how she felt that people turned their back, because there were people that did, and we've all been in a situation where I thought you were my friend until something happened, and then you distance yourself, and then you feel that isolation, you feel that space, you feel the distance from how close people, life, loved ones, fans, co-workers seemed. And then in that moment, you might feel alone, distance, shafted. And it could be just temporary, and allow people to respond the way they respond. You don't have to hold them accountable for how they respond. Just allow them to be them while you focus on you. Sometimes we focus on that other person. Man, you did me wrong. You weren't there for me. I can't believe you left. How could you say that? Focus on yourself in the moment. Get back to where you need to be. And she did that. And so congratulations. I mean, I can only imagine the amount of internal motivation that she had, because there must have been a huge amount of, I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to myself. I'm going to show the world. I have something to prove. And she used that energy to get where she got and receive that accolade. And so we're very, very proud of her for the hard work, for what it represents, and look forward to seeing how she can mentor and inspire young women in the future.
Well said. I mean, we can't even add nothing to that. And well said. And well done, Sha'Carri Richardson. All right, Mckenna, I don't know if you want to take this one, but I heard your boy turned his 7th in Atlanta. Rudy Giuliani.
You did that already?
I don't think the rump did it yet, but I know that the attorney did.
Okay. I mean, you got served. He got served. They got 21, 19. I forgot how many people got served. And they can try Miss Fanny if they want to. They can, because all the paperwork is already pre-prepared. All she has to do is fill in your name if you don't show up. So I encourage them to remember that they are not exempt from the process. Like in this situation, the rules actually do apply to you. And go ahead and follow the procedure. I need your thumb and your fingers to go ahead and be on this electronic pad. I don't think they do ink anymore. And go ahead and take this photograph. This, what was the name? Olin Mills? Was it Olin Mills when we were in high school? Okay, go ahead and take this Olin Mills headshot. And say you're not guilty, because that's what we expect you to say, and move on about your day. But watch out for the sidestepping of the law here in Atlanta, because it's not going to go in their favor. So go ahead and show up, turn yourself in, get 15 more minutes of fame. The reporters will ask you those questions that you don't have any comments to, and let this process play itself out in public. Like we want to see it in public.
In public, in the ATL, in the Fulton County Jail. So look, I'm looking at the shade room. It says the mugshot of 9 co-defendants in the Donald Trump Georgia election interference case released. So we got Rudy, we got Jenna Ellis. That's a former Trump, and she was smiling, y'all. Then we have Kenneth Cheeseborough. He's also a former attorney. We got John Eastman, the former attorney. We got Sydney Powell. She's an attorney. Oh yeah, she for real. Yeah, they need to put her in population. Somebody need to straighten her out real quick. And then we got Kathleen Lepan. She is a Coffee County GOP chair. Girl, honey. Mm-hmm. And then we got Scott Hall. He the Georgia Bills bondsman, y'all. We got the Bills bondsman over there.
There's a whole variety of people in this indictment.
I'm really checking that out. We got Ray Smith, Trump re-election campaign lawyer. All right. And then we got David Schaefer, the Georgia Republican Party chairman. What's where Graham at, though? They didn't get Graham because Graham was kind of trying to put pressure, what's his name? Kent and the other one last year. Graham not in there yet. All right, but we got 9. We got 9 mugshots. So y'all can go to the shade room. Y'all be able to see the mugshot. So, I saw the sheriff in Fulton County, he was getting Trump, room ready. He said gonna treat him just like everybody else. Yeah.
I don't know. His bond's already been set, so I don't know how that works. How long do you have to stay? Once you get booked, how long do you have to stay in there? Is it like, all right, you just one door, you go in there, get booked, get all your fingerprints and all the other stuff, and then you just go out the other door real fast and go ahead and exit the jail and just go on about your merry way?
I think they're gonna make a little example of him. Maybe the machine gonna break or something. They might have a little power outage because of the heat in Georgia. Fulton County, they good for losing power. So they might have a little, a power surge, and none of the doors can open, and the system went down, and they got to make sure, so they might have a little glitch in the system when he, turned himself in. I mean, I'm just saying, if I was, working in the custodian room, I probably would trip over the extension cord or something. But we're going to see how that turned out in Atlanta. Kudos to the prosecutors all over the United States who is not afraid of the Trumpsters that is taking these things in their hand. And, we got some male attorneys in there, but we got to give it up, honey. Them women, we ain't playing, ain't we? We are not playing. I'm just saying. MG, I mean, the future looking good for a future female president.
So I have a question for MG. Do you think that with these RICO charges, people are going to start talking and advocating for themselves for lesser charges?
Yeah, I mean, I think if he can't get to them fast enough, or if they can't see a way, these people aren't built like that. They're going to start telling, if the people that they get to start telling will have enough information to be like, essentially, this is where their body's buried. You know what I mean? I don't know if they'll be privy to that information. They may say something like to the effect of, yeah, I got a word from such and such, but wasn't directly tied to that person, that I was supposed to do this and do that. And then that person has to hold steadfast and say, such and such never told me. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's going to be a couple of fall guys, but I don't know if it's going to touch the top. Like, hey, this is a smoking gun of what such and such did. Here's the evidence of what such and such did. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's what I said from the beginning is that this would probably be unprecedented for something like this to happen, even in such a a situation in which someone tried to influence the election. But it's also you're going down a slippery slope of people in Congress and whichever one you want to go through, whether it's executive, judicial, or congressional branch, of people getting prosecuted for things that are not violent crimes or any of those things. But I think you go down that slippery slope, and I just don't know if people are ready to go down that road just yet, especially with someone who's been a former president. So I don't have very high hopes that anything will actually transpire. So I don't know.
What was interesting is the other week I got a jury duty notice. So I have jury duty in September. And in my mind, I was like, no, 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 no. I want to wait. Like, I want to be on the jury. I want to hear the evidence. I want it to be presented. I want to go in there with a clean slate, an open mind, and actually participate in the civic duty in the process. So I'm gonna call and see if I can get this jury duty rescheduled. I don't think they'll push it out, a year and a half. But when I saw that it was coming, I was like, wait, no, no, no. I would love to serve, but I want to serve on a different case. But speaking of jury duty and just speaking of the process, I did see I don't know if it was a YouTube clip or Instagram clip or a TikTok clip, but there was a person who said that serving as a juror should be a full-time job. Like, people should be trained and go to school and take a class so that they can understand evidence and discovery and some of the legal terms. And they felt that this should be a job and that people should be educated, and you shouldn't just be able to pull Jane Doe and Jimmy Doe off the street to go and serve on these high-profile cases. So what are your thoughts of jurors being selected from a pool of people who have gone through a class or a certificate program, or are trained or employed to do the duty?
No, I think it should stay the same way. Your peers. I believe that you should, like it was already written, you go in front of your peers. So no, random.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Tonia. I smell a lot of corruption for people that you know are going to be on the jury. If you have a select few, like usually typically when they do it, man, you just picking from, as Tonia said, like random people. But if you know the people that have the job, like it's a lot easier to corrupt those people that have the job, because you're gonna know more about their background. You're gonna know a lot about them because they're gonna have a background. But yeah, I'm not in favor of that one.
No, random.
I mean, I think the part that I agreed about was maybe just orientation class. So maybe while you're sitting there, being prepared to go in and serve, maybe there should be some videos and some orientation. And then once you go through orientation, then, you're ready to be selected if your number's called. So I don't object to like some training or some information or some education about the process, maybe some of the legal terms, maybe what to expect. I think that information is good. Do I think that these people should be employed by the state or the county of? No, because like both of you said, that just lends and leaves some room for some corruption, some bribery, some bias. But I feel like maybe a lightweight training class, a little orientation where, once you get your notice, you have to go in and take the online learning course, answer the questions, watch the video, and then pass a little test at the end. And if you fail it, then you just, you get selected until you pass it. Like, it doesn't go away. Like, this is still your duty. But I feel like training education is always important. And I remember like when we were kids and they had those cartoons, the more you know, Capitol Hill is the bill. I feel like just, some information would be interested in, and I think would be appropriate, because a lot of cases, sometimes the verdict isn't what we thought it should be. I was watching maybe Netflix, I don't know, maybe Hulu, and they were showing like a documentary on police and the culture of police and how the culture of police just didn't start. And they went back to recent history. When I say recent history, I mean, not like the 1800s, but they started talking about the Rodney King case and how this was one of the first examples where America saw out loud police brutality against Black and brown people. Like, it was recorded, it was captured, and it wasn't a space for people to deny that this happened. And how America, was appalled that this isolated incident could have happened. And This Is America was like, this isn't isolated. This is what we've seen. This is what's been happening. You just got to see it because this random person happened to record it and then sent it to the TV station. And then with the advent of technology and, through the years, cell phones and things of nature, we've seen more and more of it out loud and in public. But it was really interesting to put that in that context of that was really the first instance past the civil rights movement, where we saw the dogs and the water hoses, but where people were actually specifically able to see how police treat Black and brown people, and that they were justified in the sense that the law, the judicial process said they did not break policy or protocol. And then to think about, that was what, 93 maybe, 1993? And we're in 2023.
2023, right.
And to see or to listen or to feel, what kind of progress have we made since 1993? How has the culture of policing changed since 1993? What are the barriers for brutality and the perception of brutality against Black and brown? How has that changed? How is it that police still are afraid of Black and brown people instantly? Like if there's a situation or altercation, and then they showed an example of, there were two teenagers, a Black young man and a white young man, and they were in a fight. The Black young man was on the ground and the white young man was on top of him, hitting him. Well, they pulled the white young man off and immediately arrested the brown and Black young man who was on the floor protecting himself. And they said that they felt threatened by this weaponless teenager. So I think that we just still have a lot of work to do, and there's no quick fix or no quick answer. And one of the barriers that I didn't even realize was the police unions. They were saying how that blue wall is almost impenetrable. Like they gave some strange statistic, like out of 11,000 inquiries, only maybe 7 or 8 people have been convicted, police officers, for these types of offenses. And so that's my gripe today. My gripe is that policing and brutality is so ingrained in the American culture that it almost feels like it's hopeless to change that institution and how they respond. But I look forward to community and grassroots efforts, in small communities and in the spotlight, and my Uncle Ben Crump, who says, okay, so you're not going to send these officers and make them go to jail, but I just want to make it too expensive for local police departments to continue to do this. And so his mission is to file civil rights lawsuits and to hit them in the pocket so that it just becomes too expensive. Like we just can't afford to keep getting caught and having to pay out of pocket.
Well, being that you just said that, it brought me back to, of course, remember the last time we was here, we had the incident that happened in Alabama with the the chair, and I promise you guys, we should have bought some stock. We should have got some stock. We should have bought some stocks in the folding chair. You know what I'm saying? Card, tape chairs, because the other day I was driving. And I saw a truck came behind me, and I don't know if I talked about this before, but or I was telling someone, and when I looked in my rearview mirror, this man had the folding chair tied to his grill, the front grill of his truck, y'all.
Yeah, people's is wilding out.
It's one of those, if you know, you know. Like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know.
I'm just saying. So right now, if I just want to intimidate somebody, all I got to do is just take my folding chair, go get a folding chair, and just take it outside and sit on it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Again. But you know what? For real, I think people are going to wake up to the whole thing. They realize that this is not the 60s. This is not the 50s. So you mess around, you're going to find out. And it might be with a folding chair. or we just gonna come in that pack. It's one of those things. So of course, what's his name? His name was Leroy with the chair. He had to turn his, was it Reggie or Leroy? It was one of them names. He had to turn his step in. And
don't be stereotyping him now. His name
was either Leroy or Reggie. I forgot his name. But everyone was saying, don't turn yourself in. They're trying to set you. They talking about they gonna ask you some question. They gonna charge you with something. Look, you should just stop before. You should just never hit the woman in her head. But a lot of people say they'll know they're not gonna play with us again. But there's 6 officers. I forgot what state it is in, where they call themselves the Goon Squad, that assaulted those 2 black men and even tried to sodomize. I mean,
yeah, they in Mississippi.
It's Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I just need them to put them in population. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what it is. I just like this population thing. I just believe that they should not be protected. They should not be on one side. I put them in population. Just do that. I just believe that. I believe that sometimes people have to get a good old butt whooping. Face on this.
But I think it's more than that, Tonia. I think that, it is the culture of the institution. It's so much to the core that we really have to expel the core thinkers of the institution and of the Blue Shield and of the labor unions, the police unions representing them. And until that happens, all we're going to do is hire more people, train more people, and they will be partnered with somebody that's been there 25 years who will teach them the way. And then you'll have 1 or 2 people that will try to speak out, and the blue wall will say, well, this is the way that we've always done it. And so it's going to take not just effort, but it's going to take an intentionality of the law enforcement and the local police departments to say, listen, how we've done it is the past, and we're holding people accountable going forward. Turn in those, what do you call those, vest cams? And I want to, we need a whole department that just reviews. We need like a review board that just sits and does nothing but watches police video so that we can see live time or after the fact what happened, and then pull them into a room and do some cultural training on the spot so that people understand this situation escalated because of how you came in there. This situation escalated because you were so busy trying to get somebody to shut up, you weren't listening, that they were trying to tell you, hey, I have a child in the backseat. I need to get them out. Or, so I think that this topic we're going to be griping about for a long time because there's no quick fix. And every month or so, there's another example of how it's not working properly and how people are still being victimized when they should be protected. And there's still examples of how the law enforcement missed an opportunity to engage with the community. And I think the other part of that is we need to see more stories of where it is working so that people can feel comfortable knowing that, hey, we've gone into this community, we've built relationships with the schools, we've built relationships with the community, we've got more people on the boots on the ground, we have more visibility, so that people can see examples, that there are communities who are trying to do better and to change the narrative and to not respond based on stereotypes and prejudices and biases, but on what's actually happening in that moment. So I'll get off today's gripe and move on. Oh, a quick shout out to the Little League Baseball Championship games. I've caught a few on ESPN, and these are like 12-year-old kids that they're going to like a World Series and they're doing like rounds of playoffs. So it's been kind of fun just watching 10 or 15 minutes here and 10 and 15 minutes there. Countries like Japan and Guatemala and Curacao, and there was a Caribbean team and a Tennessee team. So there's lots of teams from throughout the world that have come to somewhere in Pennsylvania to participate in this Little League World Series. And it's fun to watch. Like I said, I've watched 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there, caught a couple of highlights, and these young men. And one young lady, I think she is the first female Little League baseball player that's I don't want to get it wrong. I don't know if it's the number of games she played in or the number of pitches or just her presence, but she's already received some type of accolade. So for those of you who are interested in it and who've been watching it, it was fun, the few minutes that I did see.
Kudos, congratulations, definitely. So MG, his internet is messing up, so he'll jump back in once he gets that up and running. But Mckenna, also, we was gone for a minute, so we didn't get to touch on the Lizzo situation.
Well, word on the street was that she was talking out of both sides of her mouth, right? She was being abusive towards her staff members and belittling them. And so we'll see what happens for this. Of course, she came out with a statement to say that, she denied the charges. And then she kind of came out with another statement that she's going to take a reflective look. And so it's just another example, treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't let the money, power, fame go to your head. Being a boss bee, does it really have to look a certain way? Like, do you have to degrade people? Do you have to ridicule people to be this boss bee? Like, is that what's required? And then if that's what's required, is that the title that I want to have? And is that how I want my staff to view me? So I just encourage people, anytime you're in a position over people, pour into them, develop them, respect them, learn from them, teach them, empower them. Don't tear people down.
I agree with you 100%. My girlfriend and I, we were having this conversation, and of course, we respectively had to disagree with each other. She believes the dancers. I, on the other hand, feel that is exaggeration. And the thing is that with me and my girlfriends, we are able to have these kind of conversations. And a lot of times we are, we're on different pages, we have our opinions. I believe 100% that no one should body shame anyone. However, that we know that it exists. But for someone, her being a plus size woman and being bullied, teased, even with me growing up, I've always been plus size. I remember I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to get to a solid 18 and I'm good. I said, because I don't want to be a 12. I think the last time I was 12, I was, wearing size 12. I was probably about 5 months or something like that. So I don't even know what a 12 would look like on me, right? So with me, I'm definitely in no position to body shame anyone. But if you think about it, there are times I might see someone smaller than me, same size as me, maybe bigger than me. And I would say, well, why do they have that on? I wouldn't wear that. Or why they didn't have on a girdle or a shapewear, as we would say nowadays, shapewear. Is that body shaming them? As I said that, I kind of realized it probably is. But I'm not necessarily trying to do that. It's more or less, yeah, you could have smoothed it out with a shaper. So with me on everything that happened, I would just say maybe it wasn't as severe as they're making it to be. But of course, we weren't there, so we weren't in that atmosphere to actually know what has happened. To say, to either be on which side that we're on. I just believe that a lot of times, because when it comes to victim, and I believe a true victim, you want someone to pay for what they did, not monetary wise. You want them to pay. They did the crime, you want them to do the time. I don't see a victim wanting money to compensate for whatever abuse it is, verbal, physical, sexual. I just believe that I want to see them pay money. You're going to get that. She can triple that. She, you know, and that's where my mind frame is. So if I'm wrong, I mean, I'm okay with being wrong and saying, okay, I get it. But I just believe that a lot of times, if this individual didn't have money, would we be talking about this? That's where it stems with me.
hmm And I think to your point, we probably wouldn't be talking about it because we wouldn't know about it if the person didn't have money. You know, it gets brought to our attention because it's a celebrity or star. But how many times are people in work environments where they're being bullied, they're being belittled, they're being body shamed, they're being work shamed, and there's no spotlight on it. So the fact that there's a spotlight on it might give somebody a voice who's in a similar situation, who's not working with a celebrity, maybe just a regular dance studio or a regular startup video company, you know, who's employing people to be background dancers, but is, you know, being uncivil and unkind to them. So I think it just brings the spotlight on how are people being treated in the workplace? Are they being treated with dignity and respect? And if you're a person of position or of power or have money or have influence, are you consciously or unconsciously managing and treating your staff horribly? And if you are you aware of it? Do you care? And are you willing to make some changes? And so hopefully just the conversation itself creates some spaces where people realize that it's just not okay to talk to people any kind of way. And it's not okay just because I'm in the industry and I know that these people want to make it in the industry that I haze them. I haze them to the point where they are suicidal and they are thinking about quitting their passion. Because when you're passionate about something and you know really want to thrive in a doggy dog society or industry, there are things that you compromise that you might not have compromised if you weren't this close to being, you know, discovered or found or seen or making it. And so I think that, to your point, both things are true at the same time. You know, I think that we wouldn't be here if Lizzo hadn't had participated in some behaviors that a lawyer looked at and said, you know, we have a case. And then I think that we, the public, wouldn't know about it if it hadn't been Lizzo, you know, because she's Lizzo and she's a celebrity. This is how we know about it. And I think that people do want other people to own, apologize, and be punished for when you did something to me and it left me scarred, and I wasn't scarred before I encountered you. You know, like if before I met you, I didn't have anxiety and restlessness and sleeplessness. And because of these encounters that I have with you, I'm doubting my ability to dance and perform and act and sing and model. And I've been experiencing emotional duress. I can imagine that that person wants to be compensated in some way. So I think that all of those things are true. You know, because the lawyer is involved, the lawyer wants to get paid. You know, maybe the person just wanted an apology. But then when more people come together and then the lawyer gets involved, of course, we're in the public. So now there's got to be something that happens behind the scenes. And, you know, there might be some closed settlements. Whereas, yes, I got the settlement, but I really wanted the apology. You know, I really wanted you to look me in the eye, acknowledge that you were acting like this boss bee and that it was unnecessary and that you didn't have to tear me down in the process. Because when that part doesn't happen, the other person still feels justified and continues the behavior in a different circle. And how they protect those circles is there's all kinds of NDAs that get signed in this industry. You know, I've watched documentaries where people go to parties and you have to leave your cell phone at the front. And in order to get into the party, you have to sign an NDA. And whatever happens there, you cannot repeat. And that happens in lots of spaces. So there are egregious things happening. Lots of it we don't hear about. And then when people do, and this is another reason people don't feel comfortable sharing about it, because people look at it like, well, why are you bringing that up now? Or you must just want some money. Or they probably didn't do that. Or you had a choice. You could have just left. So I see both sides. And I hope that somewhere in the middle, both sides are able to own the part that they played in it, acknowledge any mistakes that they had, grow from it, um, be a better person, and move forward. And if it costs a little money in the interim, okay, that's just this society that we live in. But the greater point would be, Lizzo, if it really is as brutal as they described, check yourself. You know, you check yourself.
And MG, he did typed in the comment. He was saying that she, Lizzo may think that she's, she's above it all. That she can do that. But for those dancers, that there was dancers that came out defending Lizzo, and then the ones who are in this lawsuit, a part of this lawsuit, regardless if there is, like you said, come to a middle, if there's some type of compensation, any kind of settlement, what does that do for your career? You have none. No one is going to want to work with you.
Or it could have the opposite effect. It could be like, I applaud you for speaking up, because it must have taken a lot of courage. And then I wonder, like, everybody has an association, right? There's always an association of everything. So let's hypothetically say there's an association of choreographers and video dancers. I wonder what dancers would say who have been in videos for Janet Jackson and J-Lo and Rihanna, just different women that we've seen make it. I wonder what those conversations would be in that association, because these conversations are being had. We're not privy to them, but there are other people in this industry who've been there, like even like the Debbie Allens. Like, I wonder what these types of conversations are, and how people's experiences have been, because we don't get to see it, and just because it brings a spotlight, and there's money that's involved in this one, it doesn't mean it's not happening. So I guess we have to wait to see what happens.
We do, but here's also this too. Did you hear that the California courts has decided to revive the Michael Jackson cases? Really?
They decided to do what now?
Revive, open it up.
The Michael Jackson?
Yes.
Isn't he gone?
Apparently, they probably think he's still here. His mother is still here.
Michael Jackson is gone.
He's been gone for quite some time.
Okay. I'm just, in the interest of time, I'm just wondering, what the benefit would be of reopening this case for someone who's no longer here to testify or to share on their own, to be what they call it, disposed, where they do the deposition. Like, you're not here, that person is gone. It's cheap.
I don't get it.
He can't. Let's just say hypothetically he was guilty of something. I'm not saying he was, but he's not here to apologize for it. He can't own it.
Are they hoping that the estate settles something? What?
Y'all had 11 years while he was here.
I just don't get it. When I read it earlier this week, I was like, okay, California, I need you to really do something, because you passed this law that any merchandise that is stolen under $950 is a misdemeanor. Now you have all of these thugs doing flash bombs and running up in these designer stores, and they are stealing these high-end purses and bags, and guess what? The securities in the mall, in the store, the workers, they're just like this. They're just twiddling their fingers. They're running out. So once again, I'm gonna need you to do something else. Can we focus on something else that, like, $450? They said it used to be $450. Now they raised it to $950. How about just stealing altogether is a darn felony? How about that? How about that? I mean, we're gonna open up a case that the main person for the case has been deceased.
He's gone.
I'm talking about is just skeletons.
Yeah, that one I'm gonna have to read a little bit of, because that just I'm not clear on what the purpose of. How are you going to put a person on trial who's deceased? How are they going to defend themselves?
Why are we opening it? Can we open it? Can we not open? It's open. Can we find who killed Tupac?
Right. Let's do that. Who killed Tupac? Let's open that back up.
And if you want some extra, let's go to New York and find who killed Biggie.
Right.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
I'm just saying.
I mean, because they doing the most, and that's what we have so much things, so much homeless people on the street. Let's find out if we can one of those open spots or something. Can we just build a apartment and just put them in there? Can we do that?
Questions that need answers.
But you decide to open a case or revisit it, review it.
And he died in what, 2009?
It felt like 1999.
I mean,
I'm just saying. That's one of the things that make you say, I'm just saying. But
well, on that note,
we did have our listeners shouting us out. Shout out to Kim. Shout out to Miss Butterfly. Shout out to Miss James. Of course, MG, he did text me and said that he was having problems with that internet. So you know it is. Look, that might be that power surge, y'all, that I've been hoping for. Okay, y'all. I mean, the system gonna go down. But on that note, for everyone that celebrated a birthday this month, happy birthday. So MG says since 2009, I know MG, it feels like it's been 99. So he says it depends on how much money they get, what their career is going to look like. So this is for the dancers. So she might believe that she's above a plus size woman. Y'all always know how I felt about her dressing the way she dressed anyway. I mean, you representing, but I mean, still, like, all of that was just too much any darn way. I'm just saying. But, you know, on that note, again, shout out to all the birthday celebrators. Happy birthday. Anyone that has a birthday coming up. Just stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water. For the kids, the children that's going back to school next month, I know up north, they'll be heading back to school in September. Next Saturday, we celebrating Labor Day, so everyone who's going to be out there, just be safe. Just keep it real, because look, it's almost September, y'all. Christmas tree about to go up, okay? I'm just saying. Just saying. We got to say it like that. You know, so again, we do thank you guys for tuning in. So Nakaya said jobs and homes for veterans. Exactly. That's the California, because there's so much. I mean, seriously, we could talk about this all day long, and we're going to talk about California. I mean, it's like a homeless village. It's a homeless village. It's sad. It's really sad. So we just hope that they can do something better with their time and their money. Also, we definitely got to send our thoughts and prayers out to Maui, Hawaii. We're going to have to talk about it. We're going to take that next week, because I'm still trying to figure out how to do a whole island burn now. I'm just trying to figure out, surrounded by water. But, you know, our condolences to the family that lost loved ones, and of course the ones who have to rebuild. And of course, it was so sad to see a lot of people had to actually survive by going into the water. Again, you know, so a lot of times, this is what we're going to chime out on. This is what we're going to go out on. A lot of times when we think we got it hard, guess what? Somebody got it harder. Somebody has it harder. So a lot of times when we decide to complain about the little thing, you know, that's why I didn't complain about the sun and stuff. I was like, I want to get better. I want to feel myself. I'm about 75%. I would like to be 100. But when I was 100, I wasn't even thinking about that 75%. So the things we take for granted when we're good. But also when we do have some little stuff that we can gripe about, griping is good. But at the same time, you always got to think about what you're going through. Somebody's going through something much harder. So we always got to keep people in thoughts and their prayers, and thank God for the least and the best that we got, because our least might be the most for others. On that note, guess what we're going to say? See you next week. This is Tonia saying tune out for Marcus. MG, he'll be back next week, if God's willing.
All right, everybody, just have a good evening. As Tonia says, stay hydrated. And I'll just add to what she said. check your attitude and practice some gratitude.
Oh, I like that. Check your attitude and practice some gratitude. I like that. I stole it. Yes. On that note, Powerhouse, you take us out. You guys have a good evening. Thank you again for supporting the PowerhouseRadio.com and Let's Gripe.
Yeah. You listen to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day, so you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to just ride to on the go, or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9.
Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean. You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.